Airing in the first half of 2002, Shichinin no Nana, or 7 of 7, follows Nana Suzuki in her last year before high school. She wants to get into the same high school as Yuichi, the boy she has a crush on. She's not on the same level as him academically, however, so it's going to take a lot of work. She'll try her hardest with the support of her childhood friend, Hitomi, another Nana, her grandfather, another Nana, the trio that bullies her for a while before helping her to spite someone else, another Nana, and at least 3 other Nana. You see, her grandfather was experimenting with the prism in the microwave he moved to the shed, but Nana needed it for baking. She noticed something weird in it, but didn't let that stop her from opening it, resulting in the prism separating Nana into 7 versions of herself, color-coded for your convenience. I know you might hear that and think, that's absurd, but you have to understand. They didn't have a regular-sized oven. She did have to use the microwave. Of the 7 Nana, 1 is the original, while the other 6 have variances in character traits. They are aggressive, cheerful, sensitive, easygoing, intellectual, and, well, the English version calls her sensitive, while referring to the one I was referring to as sensitive as a crybaby. The Japanese version calls her weird. The end credits call her ghostly, and her comic counterpart is just called the sexy one, but that's getting ahead of ourselves. Although the comic did have a page about the TV version, and it calls her the bad one? What? I guess she's just hard to pin down. They all have variations of the name Nana to distinguish them. Nanape, Nanachi, Nanarin, Nanako, Nanasama, and Nanapon.
That's it! Oh, what about me? Well, just plain Nana should work for you, don't you think?
Their existence is a secret to all but a few people, unless they're in California. With the assumption that they'll return to being one person next spring. The series follows Nana and her 6 other selves as her study habits and love life go out of control. Also, Sentai. The Nana have superpowers to help heighten the hijinks that ensue. The series is primarily a romantic comedy with splashes of drama and action in the mix. It's an enjoyable little series. Let's dive into some of the characters that carry it. First is the original Nana. While the show has a total of 7 Nanas, the first one is undeniably still the center of everything. She's the one that will go to school most of the time, the one that does the cooking and cleaning, and when the time of the high school entrance exam comes, she'll be the one to take it. She's the balanced Nana, allowing her other selves to have their traits, while she's much more reserved in comparison. Nana fails to write her name on the chocolate she gives to Yuichi in the first episode, so she resolves to confess her feelings after getting into the same high school as him. It's maybe not the greatest reason to choose a school to enroll in, but in her defense, she's in the 9th grade. It's not some kind of baffling thought process to overthink. She's an average girl, and I don't mean that in a she's bland kind of way. When Yuichi is rejected by his love interest for a second time, Nana, who overheard the conversation while dressed like a fish, don't worry about it, tells him not to give up. He really should be giving up, since his crush made it clear twice that she was not interested, but for Nana it shows her not taking advantage of the situation. She relates to him and cheers him up. Nana is successfully portrayed as a girl who the audience should want to root for. The other 6 Nana never have any sort of identity crisis, with the first Nana very obviously being the original. They each have their own moments to shine in episodes where they get to be in the lead.
Our love life depends on these entrance exams! I'm gonna learn it all, every word in the book! Yuichi might finally get a chance to taste my cooking! Oh my gosh, how cool is that? What's the big deal if you don't get A's? It's so unfair! You can still be trying your hardest, you can still be doing your best! Isn't that what it's about?
I only did it because Nana wasn't sleeping. That can't be good for her. I thought her studying would improve if she had a clear head.
It's always best to try to solve a problem on your own. If you don't, you may never have the courage to face life's big problems, like problems of the heart. Whether it's for a cool uniform or for the chance to confess your love, both of them are perfectly fine reasons. Yeah.
In addition to the 7 Nana, we have a number of other cast members that I am about to give a very quick rundown of. Hitomi, the childhood friend, who is very supportive of the 7 Nana in their mission. Grandpa, who does science and is also very supportive. The duo of the assistant principal and the guidance counselor, who are strict but not unreasonable. And Yuichi, the love interest. He likes photography and is usually nice. There is one character I'd like to delve into for a bit, Sukie Kayano. She's introduced midway through the series to be the third point in a love triangle, being the one that Yuichi is in love with. Her introduction is kind of weird. We first meet Kayano at a festival when Nana bumps into her. We don't know her name yet, but it's obvious from earlier information who she is going to turn out to be. Everything is made clear to Nana a few episodes later, when we see Yuichi talking to "I'm sorry, who the hell is that?"
I thought I'd say hi.
Miss Kayano! Sorry to keep you waiting, I know I'm late.
Wait, that's Kayano? Was that other girl not her? No, it has to be though. They flash back to the earlier episode here.
I'm so sorry.
It's that girl.
Different appearance, different demeanor. What happened here? My own research has left me without an official answer, so it's speculation time. My guess as to what happened is that one of these was an earlier concept for the character, presumably this one, and this episode ended up slipping through the cracks with the wrong depiction of the character. In the English version of the ending credits, we can see it's at least the same actress, for both Japanese and English, but apparently the first Sukie had the family name of Ashino, not Kayano. Mistakes can happen for sure, but it was only for that one episode. When first seeing this, I had assumed that maybe this first version was what the comic version of the character was like. Nope, in the comic we have a third version of the character. Your guess is as good as mine. Kayano is very focused on her studies and is not interested in dating Yuichi. We find out very late in the series that she is giving up on her artwork to focus on getting into medical school, as is tradition for the women in her family. It would explain why she acts so coldly, and I would almost accept this as a reason for her changing character, but that seems like a stretch. The last characters I want to bring up are the bully trio, Kogarashi, Hayashiba, and Morinuma. The trio mostly pick on Nana, but are still given the opportunity for further characterization individually. They're not one-dimensional by the end of the series, and it's to the series' benefit that they weren't left like that. The English dub for 707 was produced in the early 2000s. You can tell that by watching it, for better and for worse.
Where did you learn all of your colorful phrases?
Oh, that's easy. From this tape your mama lent me. That you might be a redneck if comedian.
Oh, I see.
Firstly, the accents. This is Melody Honey, and quick digression, character designs for the series were done by Mina Yoshizaki, so if you see some of these characters and think, I've seen this character elsewhere, you did. Melody Honey is from the US, as you can tell from her hat. Her speech includes an Osakan accent.
Oh, wonderful dashiki!
This gets brought up in the dialogue, so how is an English dub to handle this necessary vocal trait?
You must be that cute little Nana kids I've heard so much about. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm a fit to be dad.
Golly, it's interesting to see another Southerner here. What state is she from?
Wow, it's the Golden Gate Bridge!
Are you sure about that? I'm just gonna assume she's staying in California for college. But that's the lighter side of things. Maybe there's some other accents. Ones that are a bit more uncalled for.
First off, Resurrector Fright.
That's right. And we have a fisherman wolf.
Get your rending gear ready.
This sure is a dub from 20 years ago, huh? They don't have a notable accent in Japanese, they're not speaking another language. I don't even get why they bothered doing this. Then you have their choice in vocabulary.
She always was a special student, and by special, I mean retarded.
It's a shame that parts of the dub can really pull me out of the experience, since it's otherwise not too bad of a dub in my opinion. In Japanese, Nana Suzuki is voiced by Nana Mizuki. Each of the other Nana have a different voice actress. In the English dub, all 7 of them are voiced by Veronica Taylor. On the one hand, that makes sense. There are some minor physical differences between the Nana, but they're all close enough to the same person that it makes sense for them to share an actress. On the other hand, they didn't want all the Nana to sound the exact same. For what it's worth, I think the end result turned out pretty good. It's what you might hope for when someone is given the direction of voice these 7 characters while trying to make them similar and distinct. Some voices in this show are clearly meant to be more of a character voice instead of a voice that could pass for something more natural, but it's never enough to hold the dub back overall. There's nothing extreme that sounds like somebody was just doing a voice without being able to act at the same time. Still, there are definitely some downsides to the script being used that I've noticed. One scene in particular that sticks out is the final scene of episode 14. Nana and Yuichi have spent some time together in San Francisco and appear to be growing closer. The last line from Yuichi makes that sound like it's especially the case.
You know what, Nana? I'd really like to go to the same high school as you.
How nice that would be, if that were the truth. The dub has him speaking directly to Nana. The Japanese version appears to have him just speaking out loud about what he wants without being specific about who he's talking to or about.
行きたいな。同じ高校に。
This is made very clear in the episode that fully introduces us to Kayano.
What? Then, when he said...
I really want to go to the same high school as you.
It makes more sense in Japanese when the line is vague enough to be interpreted by Nana and the audience as being directed towards her, owing to not be in hindsight. With the English dub, there is no room for this. An unfortunate oversight, but there is thankfully not too many present. The show is primarily aimed at a younger audience with 2 exceptions, not counting any marketing of course. The first is the comic series, which I'll save talking about for later in the video. The second is the New Year's episode. The New Year's episode is a special case where the regular standards for fan service are thrown out the window.
And to top it off, she passed her physical with flying colors.
Presumably, these changes in standards are because the New Year's episode wasn't aired with the others in the show's original broadcast. Is it gratuitous in certain areas? Is it especially bad? Well, what it is jarring, given the demographic is supposedly children, and the episodes that are already part of the original broadcast really don't show nearly as much skin. If you should decide to watch it though, watch it after episode 18. 18 is the Christmas episode, and there's this little thing at the end. The 7 of 7 comic series spans 3 volumes. It is neither the source material for the television series, nor is it an adaptation of it. 2 projects debuted only 2 months apart. Yasuhiro Imagawa, perhaps more well known for being the series director for the 90s Giant Robo series and for G Gundam, is also the director and lead writer for both versions of the series. The comic shares the core concept of 7 Nanas working together to get into the same high school as her crush, and that's about it. Grandpa is only in 1 chapter, and is no longer the reason for the split. Instead, it happens due to a crystal brought home by her parents who actually live with Nana here. The Nana themselves present a number of big changes. The Nana Rangers are only in 1 chapter instead of being a recurring aspect of the story. All 7 of them go to school instead of their existence being a secret. And then there's Nanachi. She's not the only one with any variances in her characterization being present, but hers is definitely the greatest by far. Nanachi is presented in the TV series as the happy one, almost always with a smile on her face, including in scenes where it adds to the humor.
It's a brilliant idea! My cooking! I'll get to his heart through his stomach!
In the comic, Nanachi is the mean one. She's very blunt and is not afraid to do the wrong thing if it means getting ahead. I don't know if there's a best Nana, so to say, but it might be her. She's not especially antagonistic and is something of a highlight of the comic version. The biggest difference between the 2 series is the one that comes in from the change in demographic. You know how I said the New Year's episode didn't feel the need to hold back on the more explicit stuff? Well, that's always the case in the comic. I'm covering as much as I can so as to not risk this video getting flagged as being for adults only, but I hope I'm getting the point across. I'm sure it will though when I show you the table of contents. Fan service aside, the 2 series don't feel all that similar. I don't believe it to be a really bad series, but I don't think it's all that great. It does go for a bit more of the zany side of things in place of being as dramatic as the TV series would be, with the exception of the ending for both series where they both kind of switch, but I won't spoil either ending. The humor falls flat more often here, and I really just felt like I was reading it for completion's sake. I must give credit where it is due though, and the artist, Azusa Kunihiro, does a great job of having the Nana be distinct and doing a good job when it comes to often having to cram these 7 of them into the same panel. And the one thing this version has over the other is their depiction of Yuichi. Comic Yuichi is actually Nana's childhood friend, and they have much more interactions earlier on than their TV counterparts. 7 of 7 is charming. It's exactly what you hope it might be from the description. It's fun, a bit dramatic, and makes for an easy watch. If it sounds like it's up your alley, check it out.